Good morning, Yogesh. Am I audible?
Morning.
So, did you make a notes of emotional intelligence as today?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Have you supported the same with examples also?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So, comparing to the geography, you are actually good at ethics. So, yeah, the only thing is concise the statements and reduce the examples to just 1 to 2 lines. Don't focus more upon explaining the examples. And second thing is whatever we are solving is of 150 words. So make sure that you finish off that within 150 words, or else you lose time for other answers. So focus on
O-
these two things.
Okay, ma'am. 150 words means around 1.5 page, right?
Yeah, it depends upon your answer writing again, and whether you are using the what flowcharts kind of also.
Okay. If I use flowcharts means it will take more space.
Yeah, but it is actually a good thing in ethics to use the flowcharts. It increases the what expressive nature of you. Examiner can easily understand what you're trying to say. In yesterday's answer, you have used at one point a flowchart, right? I didn't
Yeah.
remember exactly.
Yeah.
I
IQ and EQ.
yeah. So that's a good way of representing. So you can reduce the what words and you can increase the representation through flowcharts. This also you can do.
Okay.
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 So
Thank you,
yeah,
ma'am.
let's start the session today. Okay, so today we are going to deal with attitude as I said before. So we are not solving case studies today. Because solving case studies it requires a kind of basic knowledge that a few different types. How can we solve a case study? So and the other important thing is second ARC. So tomorrow we are going to have a brief discussion over this case studies, basics of case studies, and also like I can say prototype how to write or attempt the case studies, and also how to read a second ARC. And thereafter, from tomorrow onwards, we are going to discuss case studies also. Yeah. So one more thing is once we are done with the discussion of the case studies, there is nothing left that you utilize the brain and answer them. So that is the reason we are going to discuss the case studies not of the previous year's questions. Matlab we are going to discuss some other case studies and you are supposed to answer the case studies of the previous year's questions. So this is what we are going to do. Now let's start with attitude. So quick table of content is its definition, structure, and then comes dynamic properties of attitude, and formation of attitude, moral attitude, political attitude, functions of attitude. We are supposed to answer these all things now. And attitude and behavioral relationship, social influence. Last is persuasion. Fine. Now, within 20 to 30 minutes, we are going to discuss this and we're going to solve the answers. That is agenda of this day. Start. So tell me what is attitude. Start. Yeah, someone tell me what is attitude. In layman terminology, there's not necessary to use any technical terms. What you feel attitude, you just tell.
Behavior of the person in particular situation.
Yeah, yes, right. Behavior of a person. Yeah, in short, that is what behavior of the person is like attitude. But if we go in depth, behavior is a consequence of an attitude. We can say, yeah, it is a component of their attitude. However, if person has some attitude, behavior is a reflection of that attitude. So for suppose attitude is an object, behavior can be considered as it's a measuring unit. That way we can read. Yeah, in layman term, that is right. So the other definitions is it's a psychological tendency of expressing some degree of favor or disfavor towards towards any object, be it individual or non-material thing. That is a layman, other layman definition. And coming to the technical part, thoughts accompanied with emotional component, giving out which determines action towards object. So this is attitude. In technical terms, I'm saying anyone you can write in the exam, no worries, which you are comfortable with. So that's it with definition. Now let's go to structure. So what is A, B, C of attitude? Yes. What is C for A for? C for cognitive, B for behavioral, A for affective. Now you are supposed to tell me which one is which. Suppose I know that say snake is poisonous. Fine. And I found a snake in the bushes and I frightened. So the emotion of fear got is generated within me. So soon after that I ran. Now tell me which is affective, which is behavioral, and which is cognitive.
Snake is poisonous affective.
Okay, you are right. Okay, you are saying this is effective. Okay,
Fear is behavior.
okay,
And I ran cognitive.
okay. So is anyone else want to try?
Snake is poisonous is behavior.
1 second.
I think behavior could be Iran also.
Yeah, tell me. Stick to the one. That's it. You give me answer.
Uh, Fear will be cognitive and
Okay,
Iran affective.
okay. So is anyone else?
Fear is affective. Poisonous
Fear
is cognitive, and running
okay.
is behavior.
Okay, so this was said by Sanket, this by Ashwari, and this by Yogesh. So whatever Yogesh said is right. Fine. So cognitive is related to thought process. Affective is related to emotion. Behavior is action. Now see, which one is a thought process here? Which means which has a logic involved. Snake is a poisonous. Fine. So hence it is cognitive. And which is emotion. Fear is an emotion. Hence it is affective. And this is an action. Hence it is behavior. Is this clear? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Chalo, moving on. So there are only few concepts, not important so, but let us learn what are they. Fine. So yeah. So there is something called explicit attitude and implicit attitude. Fine. So I'll quickly explain this. So what is explicit? Sorry. So what is explicit attitude is here cognitive component is dominant. Whereas in implicit attitude, affective component is dominant, which means cognitive means what? Thought or logic is dominant. In implicit attitudes, emotion is dominant. So why means 1 second, I'll drink water and come. Just give me a minute. Yeah, sorry. So explicit attitudes, these are these are the attitudes which were determined by the recent actions. Fine. So in the recent actions, if something has happened yesterday, or our attitude is being generated in the evening, and something has happened in the morning. So events which were happened in the morning, we remember why actually it happened. What is the reasons and consequences of that? So we are going to remember what information or thought which influences the attitude that is being generated in the evening. But in the implicit cases, it depends on a past memories where we hardly remember what exactly has happened and why it happened. But the only thing which get what stored in our memory is the emotion generated by it. I got hurt by her. I still won't remember why she hurt me or what was the reason, but I strongly remember is I got hurt by her with by that moment. Now, whenever I am talking with her, this emotion may influence my attitude towards her. So that is called implicit. Is this clear? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So that is a small concept. Now, yeah. So this ABC is related to dynamic structure. So we are done with dynamic structure also. Now about dynamic properties. One second. So dynamic properties are of three types. Dynamic properties means like the properties of attitude which are dynamic. So it depends upon three things. One is attitude strength, and other is attitude accessibility, and other is attitude ambivalence. Attitude strength, attitude accessibility, ambivalence. So strength is how much strong your attitude is towards an object. So that determines your behavior. If your attitude is not strong enough, then your there won't be a consistency of your behavior towards that object. Fine. First, suppose what I can say is, yeah, tell me an example of this inconsistency of attitude. That I behave differently in different times because of lack of attitudinal strength. Give me an example now.
It could be reacting to a situation based on the mentality or the mood at that time to any
Yeah,
situation.
yeah, situational specific. See, I may like rain and rain dancing, but sometimes I don't feel like doing so. So as she said, it depends upon my mood at that moment. Fine. And now next is about accessibility. So as I said, it depends upon the information available right at that moment. So as we discussed, like for this, we can take explicit and implicit attitudes. Fine. Explicit is quick information is available which determines attitude. Implicit means the past memories, emotion. It takes time to provide information so that which determines the attitude of a person. So accessibility means time to receive information which determines the attitude. Next is ambivalence. Ambivalence is like there won't be a strong attitude. It can be positive and it can be also negative. So now tell me the example of this. Okay. For example, positive attitude is I can say I sorry, they can say uh, I favor gender equality. Fine. But I still follow temple entry restrictions. So which are contradictory. So attitude is negative and positive on similar situation or similar aspect, I can say. So this is called attitude ambivalence. And these three components forms dynamic properties of attitude. Now moving on, formation of the attitude. Now tell me how attitude will form. There are many ways. So yeah.
Situational based.
Yeah, influence, yeah. Influence from family, society, education, schools, I mean. Learning attitude by association. So what does this mean? See, for suppose there is a student and a teacher. Fine. So here is a subject. Let us say this is called maths. Now, this is student and this is teacher. Now, this teacher is going to teach mathematics. Fine. Now, if X likes Y, X automatically likes maths. So this is called learning attitude with association. If X has positive attitude towards teacher Y, then X also develops eventually the positive attitudes towards this subject. So this is called learning attitude by association. And next is instrumental learning, which is, someone please unmute your mic if you're doing any work. Okay. Next one is instrumental conditioning.
मैम लर्निंग
क्या?
एटीट्यूड बाय एसोसिएशन का और एक एग्जांपल दे सकते हो क्या?
और एक example. You tell me. I gave you one example. You try it.
Okay.
For suppose I don't have any information, like I'm neutral about Rajnikant films. Fine. This is me. And this is my friend. Fine. Now I'm neutral about, I don't have any idea about Rajnikant films, but she is my best friend. She likes
got it.
Rajnikant
Okay.
films more. Fine.
Huh.
So now
Huh.
there is a higher chances that I develop a positive attitude
Yeah.
toward Rajnikant films. Fine.
Yes.
Is this clear now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Next is instrumental conditioning. So instrumental conditioning is like developing the attitude which is being rewarded and ignoring the attitude which is getting punished. And next is observational learning. It is self-explanatory. So yeah, learning attitude through modeling and all. And the other one is learning through exposure to the information. Fine. So we haven't experienced anything. There is a place called Cool. Where is this place? Tell me. Karnataka. So I never visited there. I don't know anything else, but I know the information, theoretical information about this place. Fine. Based on that, I generate an attitude towards that. So that is called generating attitude, exposure to the information. So these can be the 5 important things that leads to the formation of an attitude. Now let's quickly go on to moral attitude. Tell me what you mean by moral attitude. So these are self-explanatory, moral attitude and political attitude. So you should try and define them. Okay, Pawan, why didn't you send the answers in the group yesterday? PDF format, I asked you to do so.
Actually, I thought of doing it later and then I forgot it completely.
Great. So are you doing it today or not?
Yes, I will do it.
Yeah, good. So make sure that all of you, I'm telling this for all of you, that submit answers before 6, strictly before 6. If you're not going to submit before 6, though I evaluate today only, I'll post it in the group tomorrow. So it will completely defeat the purpose of this program. So write and post it before 6. Understand why I'm telling this? Because if I won't put this limit, eventually you submit at 7, 8, and then 9, and eventually you just give up. So make sure that you submit before 6. Next, this is done. Next is moral attitude. Yeah, what do you mean by moral attitude? See, let us disintegrate the words. Attitude means what you like or what you dislike. Morals means what is wrong and what is right. Fine. So moral attitude is attitude, I think, with respect to societal issues, we can say. So moral attitude is attitude that you hold towards moral issues. For example, your attitudes towards living relations, premarital sex, homosexuality, honor killing, capital punishment. So this is called moral attitude. Now, in a similar way, define political attitude. What will it be? Now, I said what is moral attitude. So now, designate political attitude. Tell me examples. I don't require what definition. It is self-explanatory. So tell me what examples. Quick, running out of time. System. Okay, political attitude is the attitude that you generate towards what? Political issues. What are the political issues? Democracy. That, what is your attitude towards dissent? Right to dissent. What is your attitude towards simultaneous elections? One nation, one election. What is your attitude towards reservation? Fine, this is called political attitude. So yeah, now moving on, functions of attitude. So when you're writing answers, please think for more examples and write different examples. So fine. So to increase the thought process, if you simply impart include the examples what we are discussing now, then it doesn't make sense. You won't remember the concept. If you just think and write 2 to 3 examples, then the retention capacity will be more. And yeah, what we are discussing, functions of attitude. So one is called knowledge function. Knowledge function. So this is what, by knowing the attitude of a function, attitude of a person, or knowing one's attitude or the other's attitude, we can predict their behavior. Self-behavior or else other behavior. That is called knowledge function. The other thing is ego defensive function. Fine. So sometimes attitude helps us in protecting our self-esteem. So how? For suppose, my friend cooks biryani well. Fine. But I can't do, I know cooking, but I can't do as tasty as her. Now what I say is, I don't like cooking. I don't think that's a great art. So by giving this attitude, by expressing this attitude towards cooking, this is called ego defensive attitude. I will raise my self-esteem, that I will hide that I'm poor at cooking certain dish, and thereby I will maintain my self-esteem. So that is called ego defensive function. And the other one is ego expressive function. Fine. This is you express an attitude towards something, not to protect your self-esteem or something else. What example can we provide us? Here we are just, expressing our attitude. We can say, okay, I like luxury cars like BMW and Benz. So by this, I am putting a status of mine with my likes. So that is called ego expressive functions. And next is instrumental function. So using this, actually, this is not exactly, we can say, function of the attitude, but we can say that using this, we can impart the attitudes which are, as I said previously, which attract rewards. Same thing, we will ignore the attitudes which attracts punishments. Fine. Final thing is social acceptance function. Fine. So with our attitude, by making our attitude in a more socially acceptable way, we can integrate ourselves with the society. That is called social acceptance functions: knowledge function, ego defensive function, ego expressive, instrumental functioning, and social acceptance. Is this clear? Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Ma'am, can you explain social acceptance function with example?
okay. Social acceptance. Okay. Right. What else? Okay, you help me in doing so.
Okay. Socially accepting attitude, like I'm trying to get that example.
Okay, wait.
Like
Okay,
charity.
okay, so what
is doing charity publicly or socially?
yeah, that can be, but that's not hit the bullseye exactly. So we can say like this, I am comfortable with marry any person, like irrespective of religion or caste or whatever, irrespective of nation. But I fear about the society. That is the reason I marry from the same caste, same culture, and same religion. So for social acceptance. So is this clear?
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So that
Ma'am,
is about.
the example of charity, will that go with ego expressive function?
Ego. No, how come? Yeah, it depends upon the value of the charity again. Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Now that's it with what? Functions of attitude. Now we are supposed to do with three more things. Okay. See, suppose say tomorrow onwards, let's have meeting on Google Meet if possible. And next is if within 15 minutes, if this meeting gonna ends abruptly, then I'll send you the link again and please join again so that we can continue the class. Fine. So this is my small request. Okay, and then yeah, tell me the relation between attitude and behavior. See, the way I'm explaining you with the examples, in the same way you are supposed to write the answers. Fine. So that is the reason I'm explaining with examples. Now, attitude, behavior, relationship. See, see, I can have positive attitude but a negative behavior. Same thing, I favor gender equality. And yes, I won't go and participate in the protests which are uh, protest for allowing women in allowing women in allowing women in Sabarimala temple. And attitude is negative, but behavior is positive. Same thing. I don't like dogs. However, I protect them when they are in fire. Fine. This is negative and this is positive. And this actually happens. It is not required that behavior should always be on the lines of attitude, or attitude is always be on the lines of behavior. It happens. Sometimes this can be positive, this can be negative. Fine. Now let us quickly know when the attitude and the behavior will be in consistency. So tell me when both can be consistent. Absence of pressure from outside. Fine. If I know that I can't be hurt by anyone, no one can say anything to me, I can outrightly go and protest myself, right? Protest for what? Gender equality and temple entry movement. I'm not doing so because I have barriers like family pressure, and if I go out, societal pressure, they may point out me, and trolling might be there. So these are the barriers. If there is absence from outside pressure, so that can be obviously my behavior will be in consistent with my attitude. And when attitude is very strong and central to the attitude, whole attitude system. In fact, we can say when cognitive component is strong and it is central to entire attitude system, so then it will overshadows behavior, and hence the behavior will be consistent with the attitude. And sometimes when person is aware of his or her attitude, sometimes we don't know what we feel about something. So in that confusion, we do something else which may differ from the attitude. So if a person knows, this won't apply in all cases, but however, this is like one reason in the ways, one reason among the ways in which attitude and behavior can be consistent. Fine. And yeah, that's it. 3 important things. And next is quickly social influence and persuasion. So tell me what you mean by social influence. Yeah, this one you are supposed to say. This is like a layman word. What is social influence?
Your thoughts depending upon what society thinks.
Our thoughts depending upon what society thinks. Fine. Okay. Now, social influence is how your thoughts gets influenced by societal values. So if you think both these are the same, then you are right. So what actually is it's a reverse relationship. So if you mean by this, if you mean the same, then you are right. So how society influences, how individual thoughts, actions, feelings are influenced by the social groups. Fine. So it differs from conformity, compliance, and then obedience. Fine. So from conformity to obedience, outside pressure increases, which means conformity is more of, one second. Okay, conformity is more of, self. I want to be inconsistent with the society. That is the reason I'm following it. Compliance is like a request from the society to follow a certain attitude. Obedience is society has set certain rules and you don't have any option but to follow them. This is called social influence. Fine. Conformity, compliance, and obedience. Next comes persuasion. So what do you mean by persuasion?
Convince someone to do certain thing.
Yeah, good. So attempt to change an individual attitude or a person attitude. So that is called persuasion. So it depends on who is trying to change. Who is trying to change. Who is giving the message? Who is trying to change the attitude of a person? And by what means? By what message he's trying to change? And who is that object whose attitude you are trying to change? Whose attitude? Who is related to the credibility? Credibility of the source determines whether you can persuade the individual attitude or not. Actual message. Regarding the actual message, you can say whether it is attractive or not. The way you are conveying, whether it is attractive or not. Whose attitude, the message you are conveying is suitable to this person or not. All these things determines whether it is possible to persuade that person or not. Fine, that is about persuasion. So this complete the revision and consolidation of attitude. Is this clear?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, good. So now what you're supposed
Wait,
to
ma'am,
do,
don't
you are
don't just swipe.
okay, fine, no issues. So now what you're supposed to do is take this table of content, and you're not supposed to what make a content more than a one page. I mean page. Yesterday emotional intelligence is done one page, and today you are going to take on a single page. You're supposed to write at least 3 points on all these all these side headings: dynamic properties, formation, definition, structure is okay. Rest of them you are supposed to write 3 and 2 examples for each heading, including the definition also. You're supposed to write examples and what else, and leave up space so that you can update your sheet regularly. And what else, you're supposed to read newspaper and daily news analysis. Yeah, that's it you're supposed to. And now we are going to discuss the questions. Yeah. So yeah, I will give you another link. So please join in that. So we have left with 2 minutes, I think. Yeah, is that okay? Is there any issues with that? Okay, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
so
You're talking since 10 minutes, but I'm not understanding what you're talking. There are some network issues with you, I think. Who is that? Is that yeah, who are you? Who's that? Is it Sanket? Your voice is not clear, man. You texted actually. Your voice is not clear. Okay, it's who's that? Who was that? Everyone is okay. Is
Ma'am,
that
he
you,
was
Sanket?
Sanket. He was Sanket, ma'am.
Okay, every time it
No.
happens at least once. No?
So,
Yo, it's you only, Sanket. Yeah. Okay, fine. So is this clear? I'll send you the link. Please join so that let's discuss answers and let's find out. Okay, I'm ending this meeting here.